Hey guys, my name is Morgan. Welcome to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to stop being a people pleaser in 2024 from a reformed people pleaser, yours truly. If you want to know all the tea about how to stop being a doormat and a yes man to people in 2024, here's a video for you. Like and subscribe. So if you see me looking down during this video, it's because I am looking at a note that I have had as my personal guideline to nip this bad habit in the butt. And one day I was just like, why don't I just make this a video, like spread the knowledge to the people. You never know who needs it. And I hope that this helps at least one person. And I hope that you enjoy this video. So let's get started. So first, before we really get into the tea, I would like to preface like two main things. One is that people pleasing is a bad habit. It's a behavior that you most likely acquired or learned sometime in your childhood, and it can stem from trauma and can be a trauma response. I just wanted to say that trauma is something that happened to you, but it does not define you and it is not you. There needs to come a time in your life where you have to heal from your trauma and realize in what areas and in what ways your trauma is affecting you from reaching your fullest potential. And you need to free yourself from all these different things. And healing, I'm sure you've heard this many times before, healing is not a linear process. It very much is a work in progress. It takes a lot of time and patience, but you can do it. You just need to put your mind to it and never be too hard on yourself. It will come with time. So the next thing is for my fellow empaths out there, I just kind of wanted to say that I personally kind of blurred the line between being an empath and a caring person and, being a people pleaser. And when I was first healing from this bad habit, I would think that I couldn't be an empath without being a people pleaser, but you definitely can. In my opinion, it starts with being selfish and thinking about yourself first. And once you're right in here, then you can be like, okay, I am a very empathetic and caring person at my core. So how can I keep my boundaries and at the same time show people that I really care for them? So just a little food for thought, but yeah, so now let's actually get into the tea. I think it's appropriate to talk about what people pleasing even is. So according to Google, a people pleaser is a person who puts others ahead of themselves, and my definition is a person who shapes their whole personality on how people want you to be or how you would like to be perceived. The main denominator here is putting others over yourself. This is basically what people pleasing is. It can stem from a lot of different things, and I'm gonna kind of like name a few and you can see if you kind of resonate with it. So first of all, maybe as a child you didn't have a lot of friends. Maybe you moved around a lot. Maybe you were shy, you were bullied, you always felt like you were the one that was left out from groups. Also, the TV shows that we watched, a lot of them glorified popularity, being the popular kids, having a lot of friends, staying on trend to be cool. We don't know any better. We don't know that it's okay to not have a lot of friends. We don't know as children that it's okay to have no friends. I'm like, my fave has a lot of friends, so I need a lot of friends, So you start to do like little teeny tiny things that make you want to be liked by your peers. Then that can continue on in middle school, in high school. Maybe you indulge in some peer pressure so you could stay cool, stay up with all the latest trends so you could stay being talked about, being liked, things like that. What we don't realize about these little things though is that we are putting people over ourselves, and it does later manifest into having people pleasing tendencies and habits later on in our adulthood. Second thing is, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, feeling like you're not good enough, seeking approval from external things because we don't have it within ourselves. You could have abandonment issues, fear of being rejected, fear of being a disappointment to, your loved ones, thinking, if I don't do this for them, they're not gonna love me as much. Newsflash, that's not love. And if anybody does make you feel like that, they don't love you. And the last thing is ego. There are many other things that cause people pleasing, but this is just things that I've observed and, you know, from my personal experience as well. I have been reading this book called You Are Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. It's an amazing book. I really recommend you to read it. I'm almost done with it. But she goes over a lot of different things in this book, and she does have a chapter on ego and what it is in the first place and how it manifests differently in our lives. So kind of like gonna summarize it a little bit. It's obviously way longer of a definition than I can even go through in this video. But ego is basically the shield that we as individuals put up so that we don't get hurt. Ego is our pride. Ego wants us to stay in control. Ego makes us operate in fear. Ego causes us anxiety. Ego causes us to overthink. And let me tell you something about overthinking, okay? Overthinking is nonsense. Overthinking is an illusion, okay? It's not real, and you don't have to make it real. When you're a people pleaser, this is how you think. There's a lot of thoughts, you know, going into your mind when you're in conversation or in a relationship with somebody, okay? You're thinking, what if, okay, if I say this, then they'll say this, and, you know, then our relationship will be good. You're thinking, oh, I can't say this because then it'll cause us to have a disagreement and a conflict, and then they won't like me anymore. You always constantly want reassurance from people because you're like, oh my God, are you mad at me or something? Like, that is all ego. It's overthinking, okay? Overthinking is fake because it's causing you to think about fake scenarios that do not exist, okay? It's making you delusional. Ego makes you think about your past, and ego makes you think about the future. It never, if you really like sit down and actually think about it, all the times that you've overthought things, it's always because you're thinking of the future, most likely, or things that have happened in your past. You're never ever thinking about the present, the now, and being in like a flow state of being present. And let me tell you why it's not helpful. The past already happened. You can't change the past. What happened, happened, and it stays there. And we learn from it, okay? The future, we don't know what's gonna happen in the future. We can't control the future. The only thing that you are in control of is you now. That is the only thing that you are in control of, and that's the only thing that you should really be worried about. But ego wants us to think about the future because it wants us to stay in control. So, as people pleasers, we overextend ourselves. We do things that are unlike us, out of our character, because we're missing something from ourselves and we want to get it from other people. So we do certain things, we say certain things so that we can receive love, comfort, validation, safety, a lot of different things, okay? And what we don't realize is that it can be super manipulating, but also it's stopping us because we're just living in so much fear. It's stopping us from actually reaching our full potential. Another word that you might have heard me kind of mention is this word fear, okay? I watched this amazing TV show. It's called Midnight Gospel on Netflix. Really recommend it. It's a cartoon. It's a super easy watch. The episodes are not long and you learn a lot, honestly. But in one of the episodes, he was talking about emotions and thoughts that go into our mind, okay? Fear is an emotion, okay? But fear is also a thought. Thoughts are not real. Thoughts are also illusions. Therefore, fear is an illusion. Fear is something that we were fed as children, okay? We did not come out the womb being afraid of things. Society and people were feeding us all of these different stuff that caused us to have fear towards things. Nobody is inherently fearful of whatever it is. It's man-made BS. That is what fear is. Because we are missing a certain part and insecure about a certain part of ourselves, we already think this thing, and one day this fear popped into our head and we took it and we manifested it into our life and keep feeding onto it because of that missing part that's already in us. I could literally think of taking this water bottle and like throwing it at this person's head. Does that mean I'm necessarily gonna do it? No. So you pick and choose what thoughts you want to make real. That's also why manifestation is a very real thing. But we've just been manifesting fear all this time when really we could have been spending all this energy on manifesting greatness. With that being said, people pleasing is a double-edged sword, because what you're doing when you people please, okay, in one sense you are doing it for yourself. Okay, we lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that we're not doing it. We're kind of like doing it for other people, but really it's because we're so uncomfortable with ourselves that we don't want to be put in an uncomfortable situation, so we overcompensate. But we say it's for other people, right? Okay, because while you're over here giving, what are people doing? They're taking. Can you necessarily like blame them for that? No, not really, because what do you expect them to do? Like, not accept your overcompensation? But what tends to happen, okay, is when you actually become awake to this BS that you have been doing, okay, this is their bottle and you're over here with an empty bottle, okay, and it's really bad. You're gonna be angry at this person for not pouring back into your cup. And it's so much easier to be angry and have resentment for this person, but who are we missing out on? Ourselves, okay? You cannot blame people for not pouring back into your cup because you're not pouring back into your cup your own self. So how can you expect somebody to do something you're not even doing for yourself? You know what I mean? People can only meet you as far as you've met yourself, and it's very much vice versa. I feel like, yes, you do have this moment of like anger and like you built up pent up resentment for the people that you've just been giving to and not getting anything back, and you realize how much energy you've put forth and nothing has come back to you. You can't really blame them for that because you didn't set the boundaries, you didn't say no, you let people walk all over you. And you know, better late than never. You know what I mean? Like, it's never too late to pour back into your cup. It is never too late. You might feel like it is, but it never is. Another thing that I kind of want to say before I get into my little tips, I want to kind of talk about a little bit about perception and having this fear of being perceived, okay? First of all, as I said, fear is not real. Everything is about perception. How you perceive the world and how you perceive other people is a direct reflection of how you feel inside and how you perceive yourself. And it's vice versa. How people perceive you is a direct reflection of how they perceive themselves. Okay, so I didn't really like the example that I gave, so I'm gonna give another example. Let's just say that you have a deep passion and love for something, right? That may be uncommon to the general public, deemed as like different. You're gonna sit here and like not show the world something that you genuinely love because you are afraid of how people will perceive you. You're afraid of how you're gonna be seen. You think it's embarrassing and cringy, whatever the case may be. The only reason that is because one, you're insecure about everything that you do, so that's gonna project onto your real life as well. Two, what the heck? Two, it's because you already manifested that fear onto your life, and you already engraved in your mind that this is embarrassing, this is bad, this is cringy, all these different things. So of course, since everything is perception, you're gonna think that that is what other people will think. But if you switch the narrative around, you switch the dialogue around in your head, and you genuinely love and embrace every single little thing that you do, no matter how it's like deemed, and you tell yourself that this is genuinely something that I enjoy, so I'm gonna do it, that is obviously what's gonna reflect back to you. Now, if somebody projects that negativity onto you and tells you that this thing is negative and it's embarrassing, then they just don't like themselves, and we know that this perception is a reflection of how they are inside. They think that something is embarrassing because they know they couldn't do it themselves. Simple. So just think about that. Okay, so that brings us right into our tips of how to stop being a people pleaser. The first step, okay, this is number one, and I put it at number one because can't have 2, 3, 4, and 5 without this number 1. Okay, and number 1 is to take accountability for your actions. I saw this quote, I don't know where it's from, but they really ate with that. They said, take accountability for the role you play in your own suffering. And that is so true. It's just so much easier to blame other people for your suffering. Same thing with like, you know, your trauma and stuff like that. You might not want to work on your trauma because like, why should I work on it if they did this to me? You know what I mean? But it's your life, so you have to take control. And everybody is responsible for their own experience in this lifetime. You cannot blame anybody else for how your life goes other than you. And yes, people might have contributed negatively to it, but it's how you react that can really change your trajectory, your trajectory, okay? You have to do the internal work to be better, to do better, to just rise above all the things that you've been through. It's just so easy to be like the victim in these situations and like have such a victim mindset. And there was a period of time where I did think of myself as a victim. What is that actually gonna do? You're just gonna sit in your sorrow. You're gonna stay and operate on your ego, i.e. in the past. Time's just gonna keep going. You're just gonna get left behind if you're just sitting there pondering, oh, like I could have done this and like they could have done that and like stuff like that. It's just, no, like take that energy and put it elsewhere. Put it towards yourself and being a better person. Second tip is to set boundaries. I feel like it's very unrealistic for me to say, or for me or anyone to say that, oh, like, you know, just set boundaries. Set boundaries, you know, what even is a boundary? What is a boundary? I had none for the longest time, right? So it's just like, what is a boundary? First of all, okay, I'm gonna say there's like two types of boundaries, okay? And there's like the small boundaries and the big boundaries. When I think of the big boundaries, I'm thinking of the boundaries that you have. It's your standards for yourself. It's also the standards that you have for the people that enter and come into your life and that are in your life. I feel like these big boundaries come from self-love, and that's the only place that they can come from. They just come naturally with how much you love yourself, okay? If you love yourself so much that you have these boundaries for yourself, nobody else can get lower than this. They need to meet you right here with it, or it's this or nothing. And that is a direct reflection of how you are inside. If you're not here already, it's really unrealistic for me to like tell you to come from here to here. You know what I mean? Like, it takes work to get to here. I had to start off small, because this would be like a very common example, you know, that I would use to like practice a little bit. Okay, so let's say you're like at a nail salon, you're getting your nails done, you asked for square. And you know, you're on your phone for a bit, and you happen to look, you take a double take, and it's giving coffin. So people pleaser you is gonna think, you're gonna be like, oh, I really don't like that, you know, like coffin 2016, like no, I want square. But am I gonna say something though? No, I'm not. I'm just gonna sit here for a service that I'm paying for. I hate my nails, and I'll probably take them out 2 weeks from now. I hate them. But I'm still gonna pay for them. I'm still gonna like say nothing. I'm just gonna let her do her thing. It's probably like too late now. Like, that would be such a thing. Like, it now thinking of it, I'm just like, girl, you're paying for a service. That is her job to execute what you want. Whole time, maybe she's in her head about if she's even doing this right, and you speaking up and like saying something could have maybe like helped her. 2, you're paying for it. And 3, you're just putting her above you. Again, you're gonna sit here and hate your nails just because you don't wanna make her uncomfortable. You don't wanna like, you know, like people pleasers say they don't wanna put people in uncomfortable situations and like say that they're doing all these things for other people, but really we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it to feed our ego because we don't wanna be uncomfortable, because we wanna stay in control. That is all I'm gonna say to that, but seriously, that is really what it comes down to. Your brain was operating on a certain thought pattern for the longest time, and you have to reverse it back. Okay, yes, it's gonna be uncomfortable for you. It's gonna be super uncomfortable for you. Okay, let me not even try to dumb it down. It's gonna be super uncomfortable when you first speak up, okay? But you have to be uncomfortable to grow. And once you realize like, oh, that wasn't really all that bad, like you're gonna keep doing it. It's just gonna become a habit that you form, okay? Just like how this became a habit, but we're cutting that out. Another thing that I would always fall for is these people that would, I don't even know what they were for, okay? I think they were from a certain religion and they were trying to like sell books and, you know, tell you about their religion and stuff like that. I would have to get to class, you know, I would be walking to class and I would, you know, accidentally make eye contact with them and they're like, you know, like, let me tell you about this real quick. So I would feel so bad. I am so self-conscious in myself that I can't even say no to these people. So I sit there, even though I'm about to be literally late to class, and sit there and listen to them. That is how twisted people pleasing is. Like, it's honestly sad. It's honestly so sad, but you know, we're better now. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is being authentic in every single thing that you do and being yourself. Being authentically you have no idea how many doors that will open for you. You spent all this energy and time doing things for other people, not even thinking that if you were actually you and showed the real you to people, people would probably like you even more because you have different opinions from them. You like think different things, and somebody might actually really like you, that they give you like a really good like opportunity or something. You didn't think of that when you were people pleasing, were you? No, you weren't. It might be a little weird at first, you know, because when you show the real you, I don't know, like you notice that not everybody likes you, and honestly that is okay, because not everybody is meant to be for you. Not everybody is meant to be your friend. Whoever is meant for you, whatever is meant for you will be for you. Whatever is not, will not be for you. Because not everybody's gonna like you, you probably will feel a little bit, you know, rejected. You're like, oh, what is this? So what is this new feeling? But rejection is so normal. Rejection is redirection. You're being rejected on this path because you're meant to be on this path. Think about that, okay? Okay, the next thing is to stop over apologizing. Stop overcompensating for every single little action that you do. This one is a super really sad one. It's also a tricky one. I kind of have a little bit of trouble. I'm not gonna lie. I still have a little bit of trouble with this one just because, you know, I'm just used to doing it for so long. I have to like rewire my brain. A big thing that I used to do is like, somebody might knock into me in public and I'll be the one to say sorry. Girl, they knocked into you, babes. If you knocked into them, you say sorry, okay? If you do something wrong to a person, you say sorry, okay? But it really like weakens the value of sorry when you just say sorry all the time. Cut it out, okay? Also, if somebody's asking you for like what you think on this and you're like so scared of like what they're gonna think if you say something that is slightly differing from, you know, what they think. So you're like, you know, I might be wrong about this, but, and then you state your opinion. You saying I might be wrong about this, you're basically like saying like, oh my God, I might have a differing opinion from what you say, but please, like, I'm on my knees right now in front of you, like begging you, like, please, like, don't dislike me after I say this. It's dumb. And all you're really doing when you are over apologizing and overcompensating is you're telling people that you're not confident in the things that you say. And you're also telling bad people that you are easy to walk all over and that you're easy to manipulate. You're like basically waving a flag in their face, telling them, hey, like, come and manipulate me. Like, that is basically, like, you might as well just go and do that. It is so sad because we are apologizing for doing the most humanist things, and nobody should have to apologize for being a human. Nobody should ever think that they are a burden on people. Nobody should ever think that they're being annoying for like the littlest stupidest things that won't even matter in like a week. It is so hard to get out of that hole, but once you do, it's the most freeing feeling ever. So much of your energy is going towards the overcompensation, over analyzing and being overly self-aware of every single thing you do. So much energy is here when really it can be spent on something else, for something that is going to benefit you. Let me tell you something. Your self-worth has nothing to do with how little of an inconvenience you can be. Take up as much space as you want. There is space for everybody. It is something I'm very passionate about because it's just such a dark place to be in mentally. So yeah, I just hope like everybody can like see the light at the end of the tunnel and see that the grass is greener on the other side. Because it really is. It really is. Okay, the next and final tip that I have for you girlies is, this is kind of like 2 tips in one, okay? But the last tip is to have a point of isolation where you can be comfortable with that part of you that you are repressing, that part of you that you are hiding from the world. That part that you stuffed for like basically your whole life, you need to unleash her, okay? Because it's part of you. You think that you're like putting it away and like, okay, like bye, like you know, I'm never gonna see you again. No, trust me, she's gonna come up. She's gonna come up because it's a part of you. Because you've repressed it for so long, in some ways, like stopped you from being your best self that you possibly could. That is what is stopping you from being there and going there. What I say to that is you need to love yourself and embrace yourself for every single part of you. If you have an insecurity, you have to love it. If there's a little quirk side of you, love it. Because when you love an insecurity, when you love these parts that we deem as unlovable, that we were told were unlovable, it makes us stronger. Because who is telling us that these parts were unlovable? Not us, other people were. So these same people that were telling you that that part of you is like ugly or like that you should just hide it, those same people, you're gonna rise above them because they can't tell you otherwise than what you've already put in your head. The way that you can kind of get comfortable with that part is to, like I said, have a point of isolation. Just be alone, okay? When you've been people pleasing for so long and you've been thinking these certain ways for so long, you either completely don't know yourself or you either have lost yourself. I'm here to tell you, I'm here to reassure you, you can find you again, and you will find you again, okay? You just have to do the work, and you have to be alone to where the only person there is to please is yourself, okay? You start to do things that you like, you start to find your passions, find the things that you love, okay? Actually like think about what you like. That process in itself is a beautiful process, and you have to love every single step of it. Yeah, it's a beautiful process, and I really I'm still in it right now and I'm loving it. The last thing I kind of want to talk about is how you can work on unleashing that repressed side of you. That repressed side of you that you just try to hide and like push down, and that side of you that you are so uncomfortable with is called your shadow self. And you need to meet her, and you need to apologize to her, and you need to start giving her some loving, okay? And how you can do that is you need to do shadow work. There are such things as like shadow work journals that you can get from Amazon or like bookstores and stuff like that. Or you can just do the free way, which is look up on Google or on Pinterest, that's what I did, shadow work journal prompts. And it is gonna pull up a list of questions. Just go ahead and answer these questions either like out loud to yourself so you can actually put it out into the universe, okay? Or you can write them down so you can look back on. That's what I did. And you know, it's like an exercise. It's like exposure therapy. You're getting exposed to these uncomfortable things so that you can be comfortable. And there's no being comfortable without being uncomfortable in anything in life. that is a hard pill to swallow that I learned. Yeah, once you become comfortable, you're really unstoppable from there. So yeah, that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. I can't wait to film more videos like this. Let me know if you liked it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!